You're muted.
Oh, wow. What a great start to the Super Bowl show, man. Here we go. Welcome in, guys, to the NFL Elite Banter Show with Rich Smoke and Freight Train. I'm actually really glad I was muted and you didn't hear what I said because I regretted it and I was like, damn, I wish I could scratch that. But man, how
Uh,
you doing? How's your week been?
Bro, and I was just gonna give you some props, dude. Like you hit record before you hit the music and everything. Like we got off to a hot start and then you fumbled the ball essentially. But hey,
Well, yeah.
it is what it is, man. We'll move on from here. How you been? I haven't seen you since the
I,
last time I saw you.
yeah. Last time I saw you is the last time I saw you as well. Yeah, I've been pretty good, man. Career change, moving to a management spot here in Allstate, different agency, different place. So this will be the last time. Thank God we see this Christmas tree in the background. In case that you're wondering, yes, I know it's February. Yes, I know it should have been gone a long time ago. But yeah, man, it's
At
on
this
the
point,
bigger
I
and
feel
better.
like they're doing it on purpose.
I've been
Like,
asked. No, it's funny. He came in here today. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have this down by tonight. Don't worry." I'm like, "All right, cool." Yeah, that never happened apparently. But yeah, so Christmas in February, gotta do what you gotta
mm-hmm,
do.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, things good for you. Everything's solid.
Yeah. Everything's good here. Got the house full of sick kids, and mommy's feeling a little down in the weather, but hey, dad's still going strong.
Hey,
So
gotta do what you gotta do, man. Gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, I got that
Um,
healthy immune system.
well, we're dads. We don't have much of a choice. It's not a luxury that we have to
Yeah,
take a
dude,
day off.
we take our
Um,
lunch pail and we go to work, no matter what, right?
almost no matter what. Yeah, something like that. I mean, listen. I mean, Eagles are on a Monday night. It might be Daddy has to leave work early and take a couple of hours off, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Nonetheless,
well,
um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah. So obviously, guys, today is the Super Bowl show here. We're gonna try to keep this around an hour and a half, no longer, maybe shorter. Who knows? We do have some guest people coming on, people that we've worked with quite a bit in the past. One guy's over there in the background. I see him. He's kind of all over the place. That's what he does best. We all know that's the man with 5 podcasts a night, it feels like. So, yeah, we got some guys coming on, guys that I have a lot of respect for, guys that know what the hell they're talking about, at least with their team. So we'll definitely find topics for their teams as we go. But I know the first thing, we got to pop up the little ticker here. Not the Super Bowl that we wanted, but it's the Super Bowl that we have.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments, by the way, as we go through. Are you watching the Super Bowl or are you not watching the Super Bowl? I know there's a lot of people saying they will not watch it. And I know a certain guy we bring on here in a little bit, he'll tell you guys when he gets here, but he's mostly watching it for a very specific trailer that is getting released during the Super Bowl. And he's cracking up down there. This always distracts me. But it's all good. It's all good. So, Freight, first thing we're going to talk about here, a little bit of NFL news, right? I want to get your thoughts on a couple of things that I thought was pretty interesting that NFL's been talking about a little bit over the last week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe longer. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, the graphic might be a little misleading here, but money in mind over love, right? So a couple
Mm-hmm.
players recently, to be specific, Daniil Hunter of Minnesota Vikings, Jalen Johnson of Chicago, and Justin Madubuike, I think that's how you say his name, Madubuike.
Close enough.
I
Yeah.
got to hear our guest say that name later. That's my favorite part of any show that he does. But so Jason Madubuike, whatever. I don't know why I made myself say it again. But they've all come out recently and said the heart is with the team, the heart's with the city, but the mind is on the business and the money, right? So let
Mm-hmm.
me ask you this: where do you think? I mean, obviously we know how the 1990s was,
Mm-hmm.
2000s. Money wasn't that big yet. Contracts weren't huge. What do you think should be the most? I mean, obviously it's easy to say on the outside, but what do you think should be the most important part of making that decision in free agency?
I mean, to me, I'm going cold hearted here. I mean, it's just like any other. It's just like any other profession, man. You go where the money is. You know what I mean? If they're willing to pay you more than
But
where you're at,
but
go
are you willing to
go
take
get
a
your
pay
paper,
cut?
boo boo. Like,
But are you willing to take a pay cut for two things, right? One, maybe you're on an already Super Bowl potential team where you can go and win right away, or
well, and
maybe
that's
you have
the
a legacy built in the city. I mean,
yeah.
like if you're Jason Kelsey, for example, and Cincinnati calls you and says, you know what, we need to keep Joe Burrow healthy this year. We're going to give you triple what Philadelphia offers you. But you know what kind of a legacy you have in the city of Philadelphia. You have a Hall of Fame career in Philadelphia. Is it worth leaving for the money? Is it worth going for that?
Well, it depends what situation they're in as well. Like
Yeah.
Philadelphia, that's a contender. And I compare it to like TJ Watt on the Steelers. You know what I mean? When his contract's up. Steelers are gonna be like, hey, we're willing to pay you this amount of money. That's not really the Steelers' way. They
Yeah.
like to nickel and dime you once you get to a certain age. But he's got to understand, like, okay, this team, he has to look at the situation that they're in. Are they a Super Bowl contender? Because ultimately, it depends on where that player's heart is. Is it with the city, or is it with he wants to win a Super Bowl and he wants to be a Hall of Famer? You know what I mean? Being on consecutive losing seasons all the time, man, that hurts a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be top notch, the best at your craft on a bad team to even get considered anymore. Really, it's why it's like a Joe Thomas situation. They didn't win in Cleveland whatsoever, but he was so good at his craft that he stuck out. But I'm with the players, man. If you have a chance to go make more money and you can get yourself in a better situation, I can't say I blame them. I would do the same thing within my own profession.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I mean, I can agree to that to a certain extent. That being said, I think being an insurance guy is nowhere near as I mean, again, these guys are getting paid no matter what. So I just want to point that out. Just say you're getting paid millions no matter what. But
nobody's struggling. Yeah.
What's up, John? Make sure you go to the main page so we can actually pull your comments up on screen. He always comes to my personal feed, but it's all good. Next thing here, so we got Cliff Kingsbury. Now, as a lot of you know, he did sign with Washington. So you're asking yourself, why is this news? Why does this matter? Well, let me tell you. First of all, he was a signature away from a contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. Contract talks fell through. He wasn't happy. Apparently, he started making some demands. Didn't go with the Raiders. Then, and it just got released today or yesterday, Philadelphia had the whole contract written up. We're ready to offer him a spot. This was supposed to be the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2024-25 season. He rejected it for one specific reason. He wanted Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie to agree to firing the entire offensive staff, and he wanted to rebuild the entire thing by himself, which means firing Jeff Stoutland. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know who that is. He is the offensive line coach in Philadelphia. You hear guys like Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, these guys all saying on like primetime games, Stoutland University. He is considered to be one of the top offensive line coaches in the NFL. Sirianni, Lurie, and them drew the line and said, hey, man, I'm willing to do whatever you need us to do to get you here. But that's just not an option. He refused. He refused to take the contract. So then he goes to Washington. Do you think it's worth having that much drama around an offensive coordinator who, let's be honest, we haven't seen a lot from in a while?
Well, no, and you can't say you sit here and blame Philadelphia for doing that. I mean, you look at it and you're like, Cliff, like, sit down for a minute. Like, you were a head coach and nobody on your coaching staff did anything. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have a coaching tree from when you were a head coach. Why would I hire you to come in and be my offensive coordinator and handpick the offensive side of the ball? That just doesn't make sense to me.
And he said coming out of college that his goal was to get back to being a head coach, right? Well, here's the funny thing. All three of the last offensive coordinators for the Philadelphia Eagles have at least been interviewed because Brian Johnson had interviews, but two of the three have actually gotten head coaching gigs. Shane Steichen went to the Colts as a head coach. Frank Reich became a coach.
Well, and
why not take the shot?
Here's the thing. We don't have a Bill Belichick situation here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, Bill at least comes with a pedigree. One Super Bowl's been there, done that. Cliff? No, they went to the playoffs, one time, and were a first-round exit. You know what I mean? Like, he has no pedigree whatsoever to have those type of demands. Like, you either want the job to do offensive coordinator or you don't. That's just as simple as that.
I agree. No, 100%. I just think for an offensive coordinator, a guy coming out of college, trying to get back into the NFL, making it clear you want to be a head coach, why would you not want to go to the teams that have the most pedigree, especially when you go, you know what? I might not be
say that from the beginning. Say, I'm not interested in being a coordinator. I want to
unless
be a head coach
I can build. Yeah, exactly.
And somebody like Carolina or somebody's going to probably hire you because
who they actually hired? Yeah. Well, look who they hired. I mean, the Carolina Panthers had the most underwhelming staffing changes in the NFL, and also the most underwhelming offense. So, but anyway, enough about that bum. So there's a couple things here. We're gonna go through these quickly, though. I want you to give me rapid fire answers. Let me say yes or no. I'll give my yes or no. And if we feel it necessary, we'll give a little bit of reasoning. But Spencer Rattler, obviously, when he was in Oklahoma, He was a top prospect. People loved him. Said he was going to be the number 1 pick one day. Obviously, it didn't pan out. He transfers to South Carolina. Obviously, the attention's a little bit different. But does the Senior Bowl matter? He was the MVP. I know it was only 4 for 4, 67 yards and a touchdown. However, for what they were saying, even throughout the practices, he was spectacular. I mean, he was spectacular. Does that matter at all in getting his draft stock up, or do you think he's still going to plummet to the same depths that he was in?
No, you can't put a whole hell of a lot of stock into a Senior Bowl. I mean, those guys aren't giving 110% in that game. It's just like an all-star game, essentially. They're saving the best of their best for when it really matters in the NFL Combine. I'm not going to say your stock is rising because you went 4 for 4 with a touchdown pass. You did what you were supposed to do, Spencer. Congratulations for the first time in your career you showed up.
No, I feel that. And then Dan Quinn, obviously the head coach for Washington. We talked about Kingsbury. He will be the offensive coordinator there. Do you think Cliff was hired after Washington realized, oh crap, no matter what, we have a young quarterback in Sam Howell, and we're probably going to draft a quarterback here? That's what I'm expecting. A lot of teams are expecting that right now. Do you think Dan Quinn was a terrible idea? I mean, defensive-minded coach for a young quarterback. Is that a bad hire, even with Kingsbury?
I mean, do we have to remind people that he gave up a 28-3 lead in a Super Bowl game? I think this hire, and I think the Kingsbury hire was due to draft. Okay. They're kind of trying to confuse the Chicago Bears on what they want to do because they want to link Caleb Williams to Washington with Cliff Kingsbury because they work together. You know what I mean? But he also has that North Carolina connection with Drake May.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only reason why they got a job. And
I think it's a terrible move. I still think it's a terrible move.
It just doesn't make sense to bring in a defensive head coach when you're trying to go offense.
Yep. And then Chase Young, this is a big one. Everybody always talks about how great he is and how dominant he is when he's healthy, right? Is he a bust? I don't think anybody talks about this enough. I've been seeing this in certain group pages I've been a part of. I've been seeing this come up a little bit more, and I'm like, you know what? That's true. Nobody ever talks about Chase Young. Oh, he's such a good player. He's such a good this, such a good that. Now, quarterbacks get shit on right away, right? I mean, you have one bad season and he's a bust already. Chase Young, I feel like he's gotten excuses for most of his career. Now, obviously, he had an injury 2 seasons ago where he was sidelined for a lot of it. But just to give you some stats, in his now 4th season, he has 16.5 sacks and 100 tackles, no picks, none of that stuff. And this year, he had 7.5, which is great. However, 4 or 5 games with a half a sack obviously combines and makes that look a lot better. Also playing for one of the best defenses here with the Niners defensive line, and coming from Washington where they still had Deron Payne and Montez Sweat before the trade started happening. Is he a bust, or do you still think there's a chance that he can become that premier guy?
No, he's an absolute bust.
Yep.
I mean, this guy was supposed to be that can't miss, gotta have pass rusher coming out of Ohio State. I watched him at Ohio State. He is not even a mirror or a shadow of what he was there.
Yep.
Now, he's got to realize, like, people are stronger and faster in the NFL. And I feel like he hasn't adapted to that. And then you throw in the injury problems. It hasn't added up for Chase Young. I'm gonna put him in the bust category.
Yep. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in, Larry and Jennifer Lutz there. Of course, it's my sister in case last name's not familiar. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you. John Collier as well. Obviously, this one's not really a question. Teron Armstead, considered to be a top 5 left tackle in the National Football League. He has been dealing with some really bad injuries. Reports are that he is due to retire before training camp. So really hope he doesn't. I mean, he's a hell of an athlete. But again, big news whenever we're talking about a top player at a position possibly leaving the league, especially when it's injuries, man. Them injuries are killing, especially when you get rolled up on. And those big guys, give them some love. They get beat up. Another thing here, Rex Ryan has been the most – now, obviously, I'm sure you've seen this. There's been like 57 defensive coordinators linked to going to Dallas. I'm pretty sure they think they're going to bring Don Shula back, or they're going to bring somebody back from the dead. I think they're only shy of – the only coach they haven't tried to link to Dallas is Vince Lombardi at this point. Do you think it matters if he goes there? And do you think Rex Ryan actually goes to Dallas, or do you think there's no way in hell?
No. He's getting paid handsomely from ESPN. He does a good job on ESPN. Why would you want to leave that?
No, he doesn't.
I'm just terrible for conversation.
Rex Ryan's terrible.
But I mean, he's in a booth rather than on a football field with a chance to where he could possibly get fired after 1 year. We know how Jerry Jones is. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of talent on that defensive side of the football for Dallas. that, he can make it work. Because let's be honest, Rex Ryan's pretty good at drawing scheme blitzes. You know what I mean? Look at those Steelers Ravens matchups year in, year out when he was in Baltimore. I mean, you want to talk about slugfest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying he'd be a bad hire, but is he really like?
Larry Streichel says, hello, men, and dick smoke. I mean, I swear he never gets over that. Says the same thing every time I talk to him. He's just mad because, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything mean about Larry. It's too easy. Love you, Larry. It's easier to love you it's easier to insult you than love you, but I'm going to try to do both tonight. But, yeah, I feel you. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think Rex Ryan makes a difference. I mean, I know he's a good defensive coordinator. But, I mean, you look at his track record, he hasn't done a whole lot in the NFL. I mean, I know he's played a lot of games. Coaching-wise, he's been a part of a lot of it. His dad's the one that kind of built the legacy for these guys to have a shot. But, yeah, I don't think so. I'd rather have Rob Ryan than Rex Ryan, to be fully honest with you. That's just my mindset. And the last thing, I still think it's kind of weird. I know he got fired yesterday from the Washington Commanders. Didn't surprise me at all. I mean, obviously, they brought in Kingsbury. You're not going to keep both of these guys. They both want to be play callers. Do you think it's weird that he's already back assistant Andy Reid, or do you think it's appropriate? Do you think it makes sense for him to go back and do that?
I mean, it feels weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it almost feels like tampering, but it's not really.
It almost looks like they've been talking the whole time, though. That's my thought.
Right, and it's weird, but like you have to realize, like Kyle Shanahan's probably talking to Mike, and Mike's probably helping him with the game plan against Kansas City. So maybe this is another kink, in there that he's helping them game plan offensively against that 49ers defense.
Well, we're going to have to bring the special Kelsey on at one point. I think we have a certain guest here who might be able to speculate what's going on in Kansas City over there with his brother and his soon-to-be sister-in-law and all kinds of weird coaching stuff. Super Bowl is going to be a wild time for special Kelsey. And then, last thing here. So one of the big things that everybody's been talking about is how much would it cost for Baker Mayfield? Rumor report has it that $40 million per year would be the tag if you want to try to purchase a contract with Baker Mayfield. First of all, let me start on this one. I think it's absolutely insane. I know he's having a comeback player of the year type year. He's a final candidate for that. But don't you got to be an MVP candidate for $40 million a year? I mean, my man Lamar Jackson couldn't get $40 million a year after already having an MVP. And you think that $40 million, when you got to re-sign Mike Evans and you got all these guys to bring back, $40 million a year for Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's insane. I want to know who predicts that. Who does that?
Yeah, that's absurd for a guy that hasn't technically won anything.
Hey,
in his
Chris
NFL
Elliott, David
career.
Jones, thanks for tuning in.
Hey,
David Jones, while you're there, let us know he's a big Bucs fan. Would you be okay with Tampa Bay paying Baker Mayfield $40 million a season? So I guess $120 million over 3 years to be in Tampa. How would you feel about it? Let us know.
So that means Kirk Cousins could get like $80 million because I
would say 90 at that point.
Like twice as good as Baker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Hurts is making 45. So hey, Craig from Patton, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you. You travel well, my friend. You travel well. Yeah, man, I see. You know what? I see somebody reacting more than everybody else down there. Hold on. I'm going to sneak in. What's up, Big Dog John? Bringing you on real quick. You shaking your head a hell of a lot down there.
Hell no.
No?
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
In the words of Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed.
All right, how about this? How about this? My buddy David Jones lives in Tampa, right? He lives in Tampa Bay. And shout out to you, buddy. About to get married in a couple months. Shout out. But he's a Bucs fan. He says $25 million tops. Do you think he's worth the $25 million?
I think 25 is doable for him. But 40,
you would negotiate that, but not 40.
Yeah, no, 40. He's 28. You got to think about it. He's 28. He's going to be 29 soon. Like, nah. I mean, he had a good comeback year. I will give him that.
Well, I'm sure as hell putting a team option in that contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You got to play X amount of games. You got to have X stats. You got to have at least this many yards and touchdowns. Yes. And the touchdown to interception ratio has to be whatever.
Yes, it is going to be laced with a bunch of incentives.
How you playing Mike Evans?
Hey, Darren Russell, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you.
Mike Evans still got to get paid.
Yeah, 100%.
Now he's going to deserve something like that. Maybe it's too much for a wide receiver.
David says we paid him $4 this year. Got to make up for that. So I guess that makes sense. I mean, you paid him a very small amount of money. He did what he did for you guys. Took you to the second round of the playoffs.
But,
I'll tell you what.
40 that amount? But 10
40
times that
amount?
I'll tell you what.
Get the hell out of here.
My top dollar, and the way that I would stretch it out, obviously, I would do a backloaded 3-year deal where I can escape it, right? So no guarantee. You get like the first year guaranteed. The next 2 years you're playing for. This way, I'm not getting robbed. I'll tell you, I would go 30 with maybe some incentives to get him to 35, depending on what happens. But I'm backloading that contract. And if you don't hit X amount of numbers, I'm buying you out at a much lower rate. And kudos, bro. I'm letting you go. There's no way. If you're going to give him 30 or more, yeah, there has to be contingencies in place to protect you. But David does say, for sure, not worth the 40.
Not at all.
That's a huge cap hit. I mean, that puts him with the Jalen Hurtses and the Josh Allens and the
Right.
Dak Prescott.
No, ain't that
And
ain't
we're
that elite
talking-
at all.
Yeah, and we're talking MVP candidates versus a comeback player of the year candidate. You can't just have a comeback year and demand 40. You got to be consistent year in and year out and ask for 40 if you're making a big push. Now, he goes back and if they give him a short term, like 1 year, $25 million deal, and he does it again, we'll have a different conversation next year.
Hey, you know what type of
always going
contract
up.
I'll give him?
What would you give him?
Oh, real? I'll give him that Mitch Trubisky contract that we gave him. like, I'm not being you laughing, but I'm serious. So we gave him what? We gave him $10 million the first year. Then this year go over with the 19, we're gonna cut him before then, and add up to $30 million with the incentives, like you talk about the incentives.
I love this.
Do something like that with him, like same thing what we did with Mitch. But 40 a year, nah, you ain't that elite. But but somewhere around the 30 area, 25, 30 million area, and then put incentives to get him to 30.
Well, I love what Craig said. What makes a great quarterback, though, is it actually the quarterback or the receivers or a combination? I think it's a combination. You still got to get the ball there. There still has to be some accuracy. But I will say Baker is supported big time by Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and a hell of a receiving core. And I mean, whenever you got Mike Evans, it's guaranteed 1,000. It's not even how many is he going to get. He's going to get at least 1,001 yards or more. Doesn't matter. And then David Jones also did chime in one more time here. But the Bucs were in desperate need for a QB. There's no way Mike stays if we have a nobody behind the center. So I get it. You know, you got to pay Baker something to get him to stay. But I don't think anybody's offered him 40. I don't think 40 is going to be a bidding price. There's no bidding war here. You offer him 25, 30. You promise him the driver's seat. Baker's going to stay with you over anybody else. But there's no way in hell you do 40. But, John, I'm going to pop you out of here real fast. We'll bring you right back here shortly. Appreciate you for coming in. I just saw your reactions down there, and I'm like, oh, man, he got something he want to say. So I appreciate you. But all right, let's pop over here real quick, real fast. We're almost done on this bad boy. So the last thing we want to hit on here, now this is Freight Train's idea. Obviously, it is the sports gambling day of the year for football. Everybody comes out. I have a bet with a couple friends of mine that there's a 15.5 over-under for a Taylor Swift sightings. I took the over. I took the over on the 15.5.
That's a good one.
But where would you go with this one? Where are you going as far as the spreads here?
The spreads, I'm definitely doing the over. Okay. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. On paper, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to vote against the defending champs, right? Like it almost seems like idiocracy. But on paper, San Francisco is so much stronger than the Chiefs. Right, there's so many weapons on that offensive side of the ball.
Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, man, it's so hard to go against them.
I'm taking San Francisco on the money line. I'm taking over 47.5, and probably over the 2.5 for the spread.
I'm taking. I'll tell you what. I'm taking Kansas City with the 2.5. I'm taking them with the 2.5. I feel better that way. I am going to take the under on 47.5. And the reason I say that is I think what it's going to come down to is a lot of big defensive plays in this game. I don't see this being a shootout. If it's a shootout, Kansas City definitely wins. So what you just said is kind of a little unorthodox. What you're saying is it's going to be a shootout. You're taking the over 47.5. And in order for that to happen, that means Purdy's going to go out there and light the stat sheet up. And if you watch me, Purdy's serviceable. Don't get me wrong. But I can't see him lighting Kansas City's defense up for 3, 4, 5 and for 5 touchdown passes. I mean, there's McCaffrey. He can rush for a couple.
That's the big key.
But I still don't see Purdy having more than 2 TDs in this game. I just don't see. I think he's going to have 2 touchdown passes tops. McCaffrey's going to get his. I could see maybe getting to the over, depending, but I'm going to take the under just to be exciting. I just want to be exciting a little bit.
Okay.
As Bubba would say, I just want to be different. I just want to be different. I want to go with the dark horse.
You've always been different. Yeah.
I've always been different. Fair assessment. Yeah. Well, any last bets, any last little prop bets here? I'm going to bring on a couple guys and give them a chance to speak real fast. But any last thoughts on the prop bets?
Yeah, I got some. So I'm going to start with some. I got 2 good prop bets, and then I got some anytime touchdowns that I'm playing on mine. I got Rashee Rice at plus 135 as a touchdown. That's a big target. I think San Francisco's going to kind of zero in on Kelsey on this So it's going to leave Rashid Rice with some targets. I think George Kittle is the lost puppy in the San Francisco offense. So I'm looking for him to get some usage and get a touchdown in this game. And then the big one, I'm going to have Martez Scantling at a touchdown. I think he's turned it on a little bit in the playoffs.
Turned it on.
He's at plus 550. So the payout on that's pretty darn good for an anytime touchdown. And then
you're not parlaying this, are you?
Oh, you bet it. You bet it.
Oh, you just lost all that money.
Then the one that really
hey Mia, thanks for watching. Soon to be Mrs. David Jones. Thanks for tuning in.
The one that really gets me is they have Christian McCaffrey at plus 450 to get Super Bowl MVP, which I think is extremely
I actually like
high.
that score 2+ rushing touchdowns at a 410. I like that. Like that one right there. I like that.
I think it really comes down to Christian McCaffrey. If San Francisco wins this football game, it's because of Christian McCaffrey, and he's going to get the MVP.
Yeah.
Now I got 2 awesome prop bets here that have some really, really good payouts. So, and they're kind of unique, Rich, and I think you'll like them.
Oh,
so they have.
Well, you've always been unique. You like to call me different. I'm gonna call you unique. We'll be nicer to you.
Yes.
Oh no.
So they have either QB to catch a pass. Just a pass. Doesn't have to be a touchdown.
Are you trying to guess like the Philly specials?
We could have the Philly special. Whatever.
Get the hell out of here.
We got a Lamar Jackson situation. We've already seen the playoffs, and you know in the Super Bowl teams go deep into their playbooks.
And you're parlaying with that on there.
It's at plus 2,400.
So basically, if you were to win this, you would make like $74 million because of how out you said unique.
Yeah.
This is beyond unique. This is like I'm just going to throw $5 out the window because I don't care about
just
it.
Put $1 on it.
How much did you put on? How much did you put? How much? I might
put a couple bucks on it.
Oh no! That means you spent at least 10 or 15.
Yeah, and then I got one last one. Any non-QB to throw a passing touchdown is at plus 3,500.
Oh no! All right, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, I do not offer to pay you back for any bets that you take from this show. So if you bet on his line, if you were able to keep up with that, kudos. But I will not be paying you back.
1-800 gambler hotline.
Maybe we should have that popped up with a ticker there. We should have added that in there just to cover my ass. I mean, as an insurance guy, I know about liability.
For $1 to win pretty good money, I think those are pretty awesome. I think there's a chance that they could happen.
Now I want to bring these guys on. I know one guy likes to bet. He's down here waiting. He's staring at the ceiling right now, thinking of all the great things he's going to say over the next couple of minutes here. But welcome to the show, guys. We got Bubba. Welcome into the show, Bubba. Always nice to have you. Let me take off this little thing so we're not cutting you off there.
Well, thank you. You must be talking about me betting.
Yeah. I'm bringing the other guy on in a second. Yeah, I didn't forget about you. He's looking at the screen like, where am I at? I got you in 1 second.
I'm not very good at it, though. I was looking at those bets. I might. I don't know. It all depends. I don't know.
Put $1 on it, Bubba.
Yeah, I do. I was doing parlays for like crazy stuff for like, $110,000, you know what I mean, with touchdown stuff. And, we'll see. I'm not very lucky, though, this
David Jones says, he said, get out of here. He's too much. So I'm fully with you, man. And I don't know if he was talking to his soon-to-be wife because she popped in, or he was talking about you. But either way,
I may be talking about me. I just got here.
No, dude. These teams in these Super Bowls, man, they go to the
back end of the Denny's menu. If anybody didn't know, this is Special Kelsey, also the Triple B experience with Bubba's field correspondent, Shane Statmiller. I would have let Bubba introduce him, but I figured why not? It felt kind of fun calling that for once.
Hey, I'm just a guest, brother. I'm just sitting back.
It's nice to have you. Isn't it nice to do a podcast where you just put your hands in your pockets and kind of sit back and relax?
Yeah.
Usually, Bubba's click. Mm-hmm. No, thanks for coming on, though, guys. And Shane, now, I was asking Bubba. Obviously, he said he's looking at some bets he's not sold yet. Are you putting any money in? And you're not going to tell us how much, obviously, but are you putting any money into this week?
No, I last time I did parlay was probably in the mid-90s, and that's when they would come by the pizza shop and pick them up, and they'd be on yellow cards, and you'd pencil them out. That's last time I did a parlay.
And then Shane was hiding from paying them back, and he got jumped in the back alley on the way.
No, here's the thing. In Morgantown, the guy that did the parlay had a keg store called Country Kegs, and you could go there in the morning, and the guy that would come and collect the money would work there, and he made the most wonderful egg sandwiches. And you could buy egg sandwiches on credit. Like, say, hey, I'll get you end of the week. And you know how I pay back those?
Illegal behavior is always better with an egg sandwich. You know, I always have
it was legal because I would pay back the egg sandwiches by doing pork shopping and stealing cakes and refunding the keg deposit for my egg sandwiches.
If I get whacked because you just snitched some guy out, because now the IRS is going to go find this guy.
25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
so I'm sure the guys. Yeah. I know Mr. Maris passed.
He did all kinds of illegal things, but boy, what an egg sandwich that was! I'll never forget that egg sandwich.
Great egg sandwiches. You get them for breakfast, man. I would pick someone for one of those now.
Bubba, I think that story right there goes right with that Toby Keith one from the other day. Man. Like Shane has. I'll tell you what. For any of you guys who don't know, feel free to go watch any old episode of the Triple B Experience, no matter which one of the shows you want to watch. The wrestling one, football, you name it, you watch it.
Yeah.
Shane has lived the most exciting middle-aged life you'll ever hear in your entire life.
Up until 4 years ago. Yeah.
Up until 4 years ago. But military life and celebrities and I can't even recap some of those stories on this show because I try to keep it a little bit more.
The story said last night, I have to edit that story because that story could go viral because that story he said last night.
Yeah, he's such a great guy, Toby Keith.
Yeah, I mean, that was something else.
That was great.
Jay Leno was another guy that was super cool that we drove around.
Holy heck.
Oh, God. Jesus. Of course you met Jay Leno. Let me guess, you met George Washington, too, right before you went out, right?
That's about George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr.
Oh, my
took
God.
my hand and patted me on the side. He came to the wrong side of the van when we were in Korea. My guys did security for him.
It wouldn't be prudent.
It was and he was a tall guy. I got like goose pimples,
You guys, is that what you guys call those up there? Is that goose pimples?
Goose pimples, bro.
Yeah,
we call them goose bumps. You guys call them goose bumps.
That's him. That's not me. I don't know.
I've never heard goose pimples in my life. That is the first.
They're bigger than goose bumps.
Ladies and gentlemen in the NFL Elite Banter crowd right now, let me know in the comments if you ever heard goose pimples before. That's a first. That's a first.
I've never heard.
I've never heard that. That is a first. It must be an old time.
I got butterflies. I got all.
Well, I'm the oldest guy. Yeah. I'm the oldest guy here, and I never heard of it, so I don't know.
For crying out loud!
It was a little too after your time, a little bit too much before our time. Shane fell in the middle somewhere. Now, obviously, this topic will make sense for Bubba here. Bubba, in case you guys don't know by the hat and by the background, you see some Palomalu and some Ben Roethlisberger back there. He is a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Goes live every Thursday night on the Black and Gold Dynasty, right? Black and Gold Dynasty show every Thursday.
Every Wednesday at 9.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Thursdays, you guys.
Thursday.
I don't want to compete with you guys. I don't want to do Thursdays. That's all. Thursdays is all you.
Well, I mean, I think last week a certain guy in my comment section tried to battle us out, but Larry Stryker never wins a battle he's in, so it's all good. Never mind. Love you, Larry. This is the one moment where he'll pop in, then he'll pop back out again. So it's the most magical thing. Kal-El will not make it, unfortunately. He is out sick. So much love to you, Kal-El. Hope you feel better soon.
Get well, kid.
There's always going to be shows in the future. So
he's been sick for a couple more than a week lately. He's been down and out. That's a shame.
Patton says, I've heard both, but I say goosebumps. Okay, well, you're among the 99% of the others that I've heard.
Yeah, I usually say goosebumps. I don't know why I said goose pimples. I'm trying to church it up, sound intelligent on your fucking show.
Just picking on you, man. I'm gonna crop that story out. I'm gonna upload that on the page. Well, goosebumps or goose pimples. It's gonna go viral.
I just want to say that I'm sharing this on my site, so if anybody's commenting on my stuff,
I
will let you know. So everybody that's on my Facebook stuff that I shared it, thanks for tuning in. So if you guys have any comments, I will tell the smartest man in Philly, and the freight train.
The smartest man in Philly made it over to my show. Now I'm gonna get shot. Right.
Hey, Rich Freight Train and Bubba, I have to have better stories than me that make you just belly laugh.
Oh, no.
My sister has some great stories.
I bet she does.
So, they're funny. She's He's quite.
Hey, Dante, you're a
funny.
Cowboys fan, but still, thanks for tuning in, man.
We
Always
need to
rooting
just
for
have a
Cowboys
day
fans.
where we have the Stott Miller family just on one of our podcasts.
No,
This is
no,
the Stott
no.
Miller show.
no.
We will get kicked off the air. My channel is banned.
Well, if Franny comes on, there's trouble in River
Listen,
City.
the channel is going to end up like the email freight where we're going to have any access to it at all. We're going to get banned.
Yeah.
Dante says, F both teams, especially the whiners. We them boys. I hate when he does that. Cowboys fans always have to hashtag we them boys everywhere. I swear. It's like, come on.
They're
be
not.
a man.
America's team is what I see on my hat. So I just
Oh,
wanna say,
fighting words. You heard that, Dante. So
Yeah.
I've been asking Dante to come on the show. He won't. He came
Why?
on and where I got my nickname from, and I told you guys, listen, maybe the crowd doesn't know this as well,
Yep.
is I used to be live with John, who came on the show a little bit ago, and there used to be a segment. So there was one time he brought somebody on, tried to trash talk me and told me how terrible I was and whatever. So we have this battle. All of a sudden, we're getting comments. We're getting a comment. We're getting a comment out the wazoo. I mean, we had over 175 comments over the course of 20 minutes or so. And everybody's like, damn, Rich is coming with that smoke. And at that time, I was just Rich. That's all I was. And then all of a sudden, John made the moniker of, oh, it's Rich Smoke in the house now. And then that's where Rich Smoke came from. But Dante came on one time. He left the show very quickly. He came on. He said a few things. Those few things were destroyed, chewed up, and spit out. And Dante refuses to go live with me ever again. I tried to get him to come on. He won't do it.
no way.
That goes to show you Dallas is not better than Philly, because if you were, you'd be on the show. Anyway, just enough busting his shot. He's a really good dude overall. But anyway, so Freight. So we have a topic of the week every week. Obviously, Freight's would be perfect because you guys are both Pittsburghians or whatever you call that up there. Is that Pittsburghian? Is that what that is?
Yinzers, dude.
Yinzers.
No, they're Pittsburghians. I like that better. Anyway, he said Pittsburghians. He's like, call me a Yinzer, damn it. Freight train. So topic of the week. Obviously, it's up to you. Did you come with one this week? You're supposed to. It's your homework.
Yes, of course I did. I came prepared. So
are you sure you showed up at 7:49?
So that doesn't mean I wasn't prepared.
I've been here since 10 after 7 building graphics. All those graphics do not exist. That's why they're kind of thrown together. I was here for 49 minutes. And Frank's like, oh, I'll be there at 7:30. 7:49. Sorry, the kids. Jesus,
bro,
Lord.
I have a village of kids. Like my schedule is
true.
inconsistent.
You got half a football team over there. But anyway, without further ado, what is your topic of the week?
So my topic of the week is about a former Yinzer, Mike Vrabel. Now, if you guys hadn't heard the story that came out, he basically didn't get hired, and this is according to Deanna Rossini of The Athletic, that an anonymous GM told her that Vrabel's physical stature may have been a factor. She says, and I quote, that the GM said, he's a very large human being, and that can be very intimidating to people in that organization. Now, this is absolutely
seriously
idiocracy.
Come on.
This is why he didn't get hired.
That's not why.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that has been there, done that, won Super Bowls. His teams have always fought. He's a valiant head coach. This can't be the reason why Mike Vrabel doesn't have a job. Like seriously, because he's he was a professional football player. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you want somebody leading your football team that has been there and done that? Doesn't matter what physical stature they have.
Freight train. That's like saying Andy Reid is not going to get hired because he has a cheeseburger problem.
Exactly.
Fetish.
That's what I'm saying.
Fetish.
I'll pay you Tuesday
fetish.
for a hamburger today.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Dan Campbell looks more intimidating than Mike Vrabel. Campbell looks like
Dan Campbell
up right now.
I don't know. Vrabel's a big boy, man.
And
Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
But Vrabel looks like he'll beat
big.
your,
He works
beat your
out.
ass. Dan Campbell looks like he yells a lot and he drinks and he might hit women. But I will say, Vrabel is just a big burly man that looks like he will beat you up and curse you out while he does it. I'm just saying. Campbell's like redneck type tough guy. I'm just saying. That's what he looks like. Looks like a redneck tough guy, just in my opinion. Maybe it's the bald head. I don't know.
That cannot be why. There has to be
I agree.
something else. They don't want to pay him, or they don't want to come up to his demands, or something like that. Like a coach like that cannot be sitting on the sidelines during the 2024 season. There's no way.
No.
No. He still doesn't have a job though, Bubba. For some, I don't know if it turned into like a Bill Belichick situation where Vrabel wanted more control than what a team was You know what I mean? I'm telling you, the reason why Belichick doesn't have a job in Atlanta is because the front office, the people involved with the front office, went with the save my desk method, and they convinced ownership that that he wasn't a good fit just to save their own asses, and they still have a job. That's why Bill Belichick is not.
I heard something different. I heard he showed up to his interviews with no sleeves in his dress shirt. Cut those shits out, man.
They do say wearing a hoodie at an interview is very unprofessional.
Yeah.
But I also heard where he was at the Pro Bowl talking to all big superstars. Did you guys hear that? And he was talking, and then he and then he wants to try to get all the superstars on one team and have Dan Snyder wants to get back in the NFL and buy a team. Now, I don't know how crazy
Never
that
going
is.
to
That's
happen.
great.
They're never going to allow that.
Well, that's
no.
I mean,
they
that's
finally pushed them out after all these years of trying. They ain't letting them back in. No way in hell.
Well,
probably for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, probably, but you can't have Bill Belichick sitting on the sidelines no matter. I don't care. Maybe it's the Tom Brady thing. Well, you're not good without Tom Brady, but also too, their defense last year was very, very good. No matter, I can't name one person because they beat us, and he beat us with a third string quarterback. So, I mean, I'd have hired him.
You know how everybody has like a hamster in their head that goes on a wheel and then sometimes has to take an inhaler because it gets tired. I think Bill Belichick has two. He has Pinky in the Brain from that cartoon in his head, and I can just imagine him with clipboards making all the decisions. Oh well.
I mean, I don't know. You can say it was Tom Brady all you want, but somebody had to come up with them defensive packages that help get them to that.
Just
it wasn't all Tom Brady.
You're telling me that
he's a smart guy. That's what I'm saying.
He's going to take a year off and just hang loose. And I mean, the guy lives and breathes football, you know.
I think he's waiting for a reason. I told Freight on this show, I think episode 1 or 2, we were going through the coaching carousel, and I told him I don't see Bill Belichick going to Atlanta. If he's going to come back, he's going to want to go somewhere where they can compete. They're in a good spot where he feels like he can kind of go in there and implement some of his things. Atlanta with Desmond Ridder and a run game, that was never Bill Belichick's style. He was never that kind of a coach. Plus, defensively, they're not what he's looking for. He's always been a defensive coach as he's been in Pittsburgh.
What teams fit Bill Belichick's criteria?
It definitely ain't going to be Atlanta. I would say
no.
You know, it's hard to say because I like a lot of the coaches where they are right now. That's the other problem.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. That's why it makes it so hard.
You think he's waiting out? You think he's waiting out to see what happens to Robert Saleh after next year?
Maybe. I mean, it's possible, but
go back to the same division.
I don't think he would want to do that, though. I don't think he would. I mean, he could, but I don't think he would.
I don't see him in New York. Any New York team.
Yeah, he's with the Giants for the longest time.
The Jets have a good, but maybe he ends it. You know what? He was a Jets coach briefly, like a sneeze.
Nah, he wouldn't go there
for one day.
hey, I'll tell you right now, he'd go anywhere just to prove a point. You know, I mean, some people do go places to prove points.
You know, the Jets would make sense only because they have a great team. Like defensively, they're phenomenal. Offensively, they need work. And he likes to pride himself in making offenses better, although he didn't do that.
He mixed and matches pretty well.
You know, I think Tennessee wouldn't have been bad. I think Tennessee would have fit his bread and butter pretty well had he gone that route. Just because defense, offense is kind of there. They're missing a few things, but all things that you can work on. Derrick Henry leaving opens up the cap space tremendously. So there's a lot of things he could have done there. And they could have brought in some new staff with him because they were firing the coordinators already. So he would have had full control of doing that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those up in the air. I can't see him with many teams, though. I really don't. I feel like Bill Belichick has a certain niche, and 9 out of the 10 teams that were looking for a coach this year just weren't it for him. People were tying him to Philadelphia. He would never last 1 week in Philadelphia. He's just not that kind of coach. We would force him to break that dirty smirk on his face. We don't do the whole silent and stoic. We're loud and proud, man. Sirianni's on the sideline flapping and cursing out fans. I love it. My favorite coach in the league for that reason. Not because he's the Eagles coach. He is my favorite just for the way that he is. I mean, he's just a fan. That's what he is. He's a fan of the game while coaching it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry you can't beat it. It's better than Mr. Tomlin, whether he's up 37 or down 37. The whole game, just whole game. You never know how he feels. I hate that. Like I want you to be as a fan, and you're on your couch, I want you to be as mad that he threw an interception as I am that he threw an interception. Maybe not every time. Obviously, you're the coach. You got to be somewhat professional. But if your QB throws 2 picks in a game, one gets ran back, you better grab that man by the face mask and let him know what he did, like the old school coach, almost like the Bill Cowher way. I love the Bill Cowher way, by the way. He was my favorite coach for Pittsburgh when I was growing up. Love Bill Cowher. I like the aggression. He's your friend, but don't forget, I'm also your boss, and I love that mindset.
Well, he was also the only Steelers coach while you were growing up. Let's just throw that
No, well,
out
I'm
there,
just
too.
saying. I'm saying even coordinators, even Tomlin. I'm saying even now, like I'm just saying coordinators and everything in general. I mean, he was one of the best coaches.
The emperor didn't say much because he didn't have to back in the mid 70s, and he didn't have to say much.
You know, I'm not even going to argue this. I've been arguing this for 6 weeks now, and I'm not going to continue to argue it. I don't see there being a single way Nick Sirianni is out of the job after this year, no matter how it turns out. Unless we go like 1-16. I don't even curse on this show, but you made me do it. But if he goes 1-16,
yeah, but you guys did fire a guy who won you the Super Bowl, though. I mean,
but you know what? I think they see the flaw in that though too, which is why they're giving Sirianni the time. I guess the losing the defending champions ain't bad, but I'm still dead inside. Well, these bong rips do help. Okay, he's a Ravens fan, so that's why he was saying that. As a Ravens fan, he's smoking a little bit of weed to make himself feel better. The Kansas City whooped him again. But no, so moving on here. So I don't have a topic of the week this week, Freight. Not that I didn't think of one. I just have no interest in having one.
You're sitting there yelling at me, seeing if I did my job. And you didn't even
Philadelphia's been – listen, see, when you're a Philadelphia fan, I've said all I've had to say. We know what we're doing. We got great coaches coming in. We got great players coming in. We got some draft prospects coming in. We're going to make some free agency moves here shortly. A ton of compensation picks from all the guys we lost last year. I'm good. I'm feeling good. I don't need to air it out for 5 minutes. I'm just going to let y'all do the research yourself. Philadelphia Eagles, back to the NFC Championship game, 2024-25. Mark it on your calendar.
Be the same thing as the Steelers losing in the playoffs.
Bubba, by the way, you remember last year, I went into the year saying there's no way in hell we're doing anything this year. And I said it this year. But next year, I'm very confident. I think we're going to be a lot better. Expect the Eagles to make a really strong push next year at the end of the year. So I'm just saying.
Your division's going to be a little stronger too.
They've been strong for a while. Yeah, they've been strong for a while.
And
it depends. Depends.
The NFC is going to be, that's going to be strong. They're going to come on. There's going to be some teams
Kim,
in the
thanks
NFC,
for watching. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm not worried about it though. I think at the end of the day, even if we play Dallas twice and we lose to them and we play them in the playoffs, we all know who loses in the playoffs, and it's going to be Dallas. It happens every time. There's only two things you can rely on in this world, okay? Taxes and Cowboys losing in the playoffs. Those are the two things that are always constant. They'll never change. That's just how it is.
Well, I know, but no one ever thought that the Detroit Lions would be in a championship ever in our lifetime.
They should be in a Super Bowl, Bubba.
I know.
But in my defense, they were supposed to be in the championship game last year from all the speculation they were gathering. They were the dark horse on so many people's lists that they were the bright horse at that point. They were a unicorn, but nonetheless, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, so Super Bowl is this week. Now, Bubba, I know once Steelers are out, you're kind of like,
I'm done. I've checked out.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I don't want to talk about this shit. It's so
dumb.
No,
I can talk about it, but it's just, I can.
Hey, where the hell did John go, by the way?
He just left. I thought I went to click him back on a little bit ago when we were doing your topic, and I was like, oh, wait, he's gone. Poof.
So Bubba, it doesn't even constitute, the Super Bowl doesn't even constitute a buy low sub?
No, I'm not doing anything Sunday. I'm not having a party. I'm not doing anything. Like,
no,
I don't
just for
care.
You and Tammy. You and Tammy don't buy low subs?
No, because my wife has my wife can't eat buy low subs. She has a gluten issue. So no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not even drinking a beer because I really don't care. Like, I mean, I'll watch it like everybody else, but I mean, I've thrown parties, for non-Steelers seasons, but I'm just not doing it. I just don't.
I hear you. Yeah.
Oh man. No, sorry. No, the blue. These are blue lens glasses.
Oh, for the computer.
I haven't met. This screen is actually really big, by the way.
Nice.
It's pretty large. And the problem is the bright light's coming from both angles and up here because I have two computer screens here, which is why I'm looking here, but I'm coming from here. It's just a lot of light in one spot. So trying not to blind myself. Got a new job I start next week, man. I can't go going blind before.
Now here's a question. Here's a question for you guys. So let's just theoretically say
that's my mom here, Kelly. No Super Bowl party. It's just a commercial party. Well, for Bubba, it's going to be a trailer release party.
It's a movie trailer party. Yeah.
So let's just theoretically say like
Super Bowl.
Pittsburgh's in the Super Bowl and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Okay?
I'm going to tell you guys right now, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the Super Bowl, I'm going to have been partying for 3 weeks every day straight. Because that's how it is. And I remember because, you know, when they beat the Seattle Seahawks up over the hill here, I was the general manager of one of the biggest bars on the east side of Mississippi. And when they beat the Seattle Seahawks, there must have been 20 boxes of champagne, and I gave them out for free to everybody.
Yeah.
So let's theoretically say, okay, you have the option of staying home, having your own thing, or somebody offers you Super Bowl tickets.
Staying home.
Which one are you doing?
Staying home. Super Bowl's too chaotic. I
wouldn't want to go.
I don't know how this thing does on the screen here because I've never been on the bottom before.
Well, maybe. I'm always on top.
So what you're saying is Freight Train, okay?
I thought Freight Train was
stay at
home. He has
5
kids.
Or 2 tickets to go see the Super Bowl, and the Steelers are in?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going.
Steelers are in, yeah.
I'm going.
If the Eagles are in, I'm going 100%.
See, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I'd rather be in like my own environment. Like, to me, the Super Bowl is like that one party of the year that I look forward to. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like I feel like
the Steelers were in Freight Train and you had 2 tickets and you didn't go.
You're going. You
would never ever look at yourself in a mirror again. Because I came to 2 SEC championship game losses. I can never go again because I'm 0-2. And then when Neil O'Donnell threw to Barry Foster on 4th down, incomplete, which is a big upset at that time, me and my grandfather were going to the Super Bowl. My grandfather went to the Super Bowl 4 times in the 70s. That's where I got my ticket. So I would have been going to. I didn't give a crap about the Chargers or 49ers. I didn't give.
Did any of you guys see that post from NFL today? Did you see like the luxury suite and how much it's going for?
Outrageous.
Did you see
outlandish.
that? So it's 20 seats. No, it's 20 seats at the Super Bowl. Fine. In a luxury box suite, it's 20 seats. It has food and drink and 2 parking passes, 2 for 20 people. I don't know what the hell you're traveling in. It must be a magic school bus. Or Winnebago, yeah. Maybe you even got like a little El Camino, everybody sitting on the back. But $2.5 million
it's outrageous.
for 20 seats, food and drink, and 2 parking passes. $2.5 million. Dude, you know what pisses me off about that? Can I just say something real fast? This is why I hate modern day sports. I know you need the money to pay the players, and the players play to make you watch football, and you enjoy football, and there's a whole big circle pie chart. I get that. How hard is it for the average fan to go see the goddamn Super Bowl? I mean, think about it this way.
Impossible.
It's not for the average fan.
Now, I know it's a luxury box suite, but either way, if you even look at the high-end seats, they're like your nosebleeds, it's still like $25K a ticket. And the food, they bumped the prices up 5 times than what it is in the regular season. And it's mobs, right? But my thing is, what bothers me is you make it so hard for the average fan to go to these games, but then you try to promote, oh, well, we're here for the kids and we're here for the average fan. What average kid at 8 years old is going to be able to talk his dad into spending $50,000 to take his 8-year-old to go see a Super Bowl game and to pay $400 for food, and the parking's probably out of this world? And you expect us to believe that this is for us? I mean, come on, man. Like, think about it this way. $2.5 million. I know it's luxury suites. $2.5 million. The 4 of us will most likely never in our lifetime even touch that money. Even if you're a cashier for 10 years, you ain't touching that much money. $2.5
if you hit my parlay bets.
You're not hitting them damn parlays.
Well, if I could, but that ain't happening.
I'll tell you, you are. If you hit the parlay, I will do this show butt-ass naked, obviously above the chest here. But I will literally do this show butt-ass naked, and I will stand all the way back there next to the Christmas tree if you hit that parlay. That's how confident I am.
There's
no way.
I have a Super Bowl ticket.
Babe, I know you're watching. I'm sorry.
Super Bowl 10, an original Super Bowl ticket, and you can't even imagine what that ticket cost at that time.
$20.
15. Ooh. No, probably 15.
Ooh. Okay, Freight Train.
I'm gonna go $17.50.
$10 for Super Bowl 10 I have the original ticket because my grandfather, I got the ticket stub because he went $10. Unreal. Super Bowl 10. And that was a great Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
$10.
I'll tell you what, in 2010,
it's ridiculous.
Final Four tickets were $2,500.
It's just so
to the Final Four.
It's crazy. I know it's still a lot of money, but hear me out. Barry Sanders, some people say he's the greatest running back of all time by average. Just obviously,
I agree.
Obviously, Emmett played a lot longer, but one of the greatest of all time back in the 90s, his last contract was a 6-year, $33 million deal where he only made, now I know we're saying only and millions, but still as a player, only made $5 million a year. Barry Sanders, one of the greatest running backs of all time, made $5 million a year. To put that into perspective, I think Derrick Henry made like 18 or something like that last year. That is insane. As it goes to show you how much this league is just inflating. Like, it is crazy the amount of money these guys make.
In the 70s, Jack Ham in the offseason worked for the coal mine industry in Western Pennsylvania. So he had to get another job, and he was a Pro Bowl and he was a Hall of Fame linebacker in the 70s. He had to go get a job.
Kurt Warner left the Rams. I mean, before he got to the Rams, he was bagging up groceries, making minimum wage where he was living. And next thing you know, he's in the Hall of Fame for football. And that's still in the 90s. Now, obviously, money-wise, he wasn't doing both at the same time. But I'm just saying, like, it's a different time, man. These guys now with fully guaranteed contracts. Back in the day, you were guaranteed to get your ass whooped, but you weren't guaranteed money. You were getting paid chump change.
It's his TV contracts. It's his TV contracts, streaming, all the internet, the apps, everything. It's big money. This is going to be the biggest watched Super Bowl of all time.
Oh, it's just Taylor Swift is there. Kyle Veers just came out and said that 49ers all day is going to be 33-30. Chris Elliott agreed with you, Freight Train, by the way. He said, I'd rather watch football at home, especially the Super Bowl. I hate going to football parties because you can't enjoy it because everybody is loud talking instead of watching a
family affair for me.
And then Kyle said that his sister lives in Vegas and her husband works at the Stratosphere.
But Freight Train, to see the Super Bowl, to see the Steelers win live, if they won live in the Super Bowl, is probably the greatest sport achievement of all time being a Steeler fan. Yep. So to get that opportunity, if everything's paid for and they're going and they're facing the 49ers for number 7 Super Bowls, whoever wins number 7 Super Bowl is the number 1 franchise in all of sports. Because that's what I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going. There's no way. Because you would never forget yourself if you never went to. And anybody on that's listening to the show that they love their team, they're going to go to see the Super Bowl.
Thanks for coming on, Kyle.
Give it to them.
Well, Kyle just said, so his boss and his boss's wife are going to the Super Bowl together this year. The guy actually works as a manager at the Stratosphere, his boss. They are going to the game, and just on tickets, for average tickets, they already spent $120,000 on just average median range tickets.
Well,
Probably like a 200 section.
I'd rather have a Corvette.
What
I'd rather buy a
house they got?
Well,
it's not my buddy. It's not my buddy, Joe. It's not Kyle. It's his boss. Yeah, or his buddy's boss. Yeah.
Holy! I don't want to swear on your show, but
I've
dropped the F-bomb. I said I was going to be butt naked. I mean, this show's already crossed so many lines. It's all good.
So two tickets, and everything is $100,000.
$120,000 for 2 tickets.
Holy smokes.
He said on just tickets. He's not sharing the rest of the expenses, but just tickets. 2 tickets, $120,000, and they're not sitting front row. They're not up in luxury suites. They're somewhere in the middle. And Kyle said, I'd rather vacation. Rather vacation? Where are you going on vacation for $120,000? I'm traveling.
I would take a vacation for 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Live in a little shack in
One
the beach.
day, every different country. You're gonna have a
my house would be paid off. Holy manoli!
I'm gonna buy me a new car, pay my house off, and have money left over to do whatever I want with. It'd be great.
I mean, I would never spend that much money. I mean, even though I wouldn't I would want to see the Super Bowl that the Steelers were in. Let's be practical. I am not paying big money to do that. I'm not going. Me and my wife are not going to live out down by the river, washing our clothes and eating, out of.
Well, we saw those Steelers in the Super Bowl, though, didn't we? Yeah, you're damn right we did, honey. Now squeeze those. Now come on, the river's about to start getting cold.
Yeah,
let's go.
Hey, let me get some grub, woman.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to catch these fish when it gets dark. Let's get it done.
$120,000.
How do you like your chubs?
So now obviously we're here for the Super
Bluegill,
Bowl.
please.
We're here for
We
the
can't
Super Bowl.
afford bluegill.
Kyle Veer's got us started there. He did say he has the Niners winning 33-30. We're here for the Super Bowl, right? Now, Now, obviously, Freight Train took the over. He took San Fran. I took Kansas City on the under. I think it is going to be over as well now that I've thought about it for a little bit, but it's all good. We'll kind of like FanDuel. I already put my money in. It's too late to back out now. But I mean, so for you, Freight Train, we'll go up and around here. I'm going to follow the Bubba plan here.
Don't do that.
What is whatever? I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. My hand was all. I'll keep forgetting I'm over here. Yeah, sorry. Whatever. So, Freight Train. Who's going to win it? What's your final score prediction? And what is your reason for getting there?
I'm going San Francisco on this one. I think I'm going with my big bet that Christian McCaffrey is going to get MVP. I think he takes over this game. I think he does so many things in different facets of the football game for that offense. My score is going to be 33-27.
Did he just leave?
33-27. I'm sorry, I'm in a really big office and I'm thirsty, man. So, listen, this is Super Bowl show. I don't care. I've been talking for an hour. I need a drink.
Disappeared into the woods.
I backed slowly.
Hey, Freight Train. I'll tell you what, brother. I think you're smoking the same thing I'm smoking because I agree. 49ers and McCaffrey are gonna.
Smoking crack. Yeah. That's crazy.
No, I really do. Smoking the same thing I am.
No, well, I
think it'll be close at halftime, and then San Fran will pull away.
Well,
No, the thing that I was told last night on my show that the Kansas City Chiefs has not let 30 points scored on them all year.
All year,
yeah. They haven't faced an offense like this. When they're cooking, they cook.
Now, Chris Elliott did come out and say he has Kansas City 34, San Francisco 24, which would still be the over. Kyle Veers, again, he's a Niners fan, so he's very excited. He's in my shuffleboard league, and he loved rubbing in my face.
I don't blame him.
He was loving rubbing it in my face, but he said CMC MVP. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought he deserved a hell of a lot more consideration than what he's actually getting. He'll be lucky if he's like third place in voting, which is insane with how much he produced this year. And he said. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs only averaged 13. Wait, what was he talking about? KOC. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Anyway, moving on. I'm sure whatever he's saying is making sense. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell it was. But anyway, so Shane, you said you somewhat agreed with Freight Train here.
I agree with them.
I'm going Z formation here. Yeah. You agree? So you think Sam?
Absolutely. I think McCaffrey's gonna. That's a good pick. I think he's gonna score 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
And I would like to see the 49ers win. But if the evil NFL has their way, Taylor Swift and the Kelsey show are going to take take everybody's ticket. And
so Kyle did say throughout the playoffs in general, Kansas City only averages 13.7 points per game in the playoffs as of recent. So that's hard to win that way when you're playing a team like the Niners and that defense being the way that it is. The question is, can Brock Purdy stay consistent for 60 minutes? That's the real question. And Bubba, what are your thoughts? I mean, where do you kind of fit in here?
Well,
what are you thinking?
Well, Purdy can probably play that and manage the clock because there's no weather. It's not going to be raining. The weather's going to be good, whatever. It's inside, whatever, I guess. I don't even know. It could be inside. It could be outside. I have no idea. I don't care about the I think McCaffrey's going to run. I liked him all year. Like I said last night, I see Debo doing something. And Bosa probably stepping up his game. But Patrick Mahomes, and I agree with you, Rich, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So, but I'm taking the 49ers in a close game, probably 31-24. 49ers. Okay. And I don't care if they're tied with the Steelers. I don't care. I'm okay with that.
So far, Patton's the only person to go with the under. He's taking Kansas City 21-14, which would be 35 points. And he said party at his house, pizza, wings, and chilled shrimp.
Well, I like chilled shrimp.
I don't like shrimp, but I will eat pizza and wings. I will eat pizza and wings.
Well,
I don't
you're
eat
all-
seafood, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a fun fact of the day.
Well,
I
when
don't
I
eat any
see
of
food,
it.
I eat it. That's what it's called.
Well, Kyle Veers is a man after my own heart. Jason Kelsey should win MVP every year, and you know I'm going to agree with that every single goddamn time. So for me, I thought about this one a lot when I was getting ready for the show, and I was going to make a graphic, and I was going to bust Freight Train's, chops, because I knew he was going to pick San Fran, and I'm like, well, really, I can't do that this week because I really can't. I can think of a counter argument for both sides. And you know what? I'm going with my gut. I said it on your show last night, Bubba.
I know.
I mentioned what I think is the reality here. We all know what Taylor Swift has done for the market for Kansas City. And that's what the NFL is trying to do. They're trying to boost the profitability on their small market teams. They're also trying to find the next Tom Brady of the NFL, that next figurehead, the next guy that everybody wants to be like. And they're trying to find that in Patrick Mahomes.
He is a hell of an athlete, though.
But you can't make him the next Tom Brady type character unless you give him that dynasty, that legacy feel, that the fact that he is the modern GOAT. And I think he needs another championship to put him in the conversation of becoming. He's not going to be the GOAT, but he's becoming the GOAT, more or less. He's a baby GOAT right now, and he's trying to get there. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Taylor Swift has been to 12 football games. Throughout those 12 games, it has accrued over $500 million in revenue for the team, just in viewership ratings and merchandising alone. Travis Kelce jerseys soared like 400% in jersey sales over a couple of weeks span when she started to show up. And I'm sorry, but what's going to sell more? San Fran getting championship number 7. Oh, wow, great, wonderful, whatever. Or you're building the next GOAT.
It'd be 6.
It's 6. Oh, you're right.
It'd be
It's 6.
tied.
You're right. It is 6. Yep.
Steelers fans are in an uproar.
But you're building the next.
That's why I spoke up.
But you're building the next greatest quarterback of all time is what you're trying to build. And what is going to sell more than all these young girls who don't know a damn thing about football? They don't know what a first down is. They can't tell you what a down touch is or any of that.
12. The clock strikes 12.
They win the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce runs onto the field. Taylor Swift comes running in. She jumps up. He kisses her at the midfield 50-yard line. And he's holding that trophy.
Shane, do you think we'll have a Boise State situation here when that kid proposed to his girlfriend after they won the national championship?
No, they're not going to do that.
It won't happen.
I hope not.
But do you know how much money the NFL is going to make the moment that happens, and what that's going to do to Kansas City's market even going into next year? I mean, it is going to be a monumental success when you see what the viewership is this year versus any year prior. If I'm correct and the NFL is as rigged as I think it is, and listen, we all agreed, it looked kind of shady all playoffs long. End of the season looked a little shady. I'm sorry. I'm going Kansas City in a close game. I'm going to have it somewhere around 24-21 or 27-24, somewhere in that awkward number range, which is still the under. But I'm taking Kansas City. I don't see how there's anything that is going to sell for the NFL better or draw non-football fans to the NFL better than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce at the 50.
So then what do you do next year then? So you're going to have the same thing on the first week of the football? No, because then the clock is going to strike 12. But strike midnight. Cinderella's done.
But this is their best chance to hit it. That's the thing. You don't have to do it next year as well.
But also too, the 49ers, those guys on the other side, they
not a hater, Kyle. I'm being honest.
You got it. When you're in there for a championship, you might never get back. You might never get back to the game. So McCaffrey, once he might break his leg sometime. And he'll never. This could be the game,
Kyle Shanahan just had almost just as much of to do with that 28-3 loss that Atlanta had with Dan Quinn as much as Dan Quinn did, because Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, and he decided to just chuck the ball around the yard instead of running the clock.
I just think there's going to be Mahomes magic. There's going to be Mahomes magic for anytime touchdown scorer. You got to put Travis Kelce on that list. He's going to be in the end zone at some point. They're going to show her up in the box, jumping up and down with Mama Kelce.
She might not make it. Crazy. She's got a concert in Tokyo. Something might happen.
But there's a 13-hour flight. But if you look, the time difference between Vegas and Tokyo is to the point where she would actually make it in plenty of time. She would actually have enough time to nap, get ready, and go. So just so you know, They did a whole math thing on it on YouTube. I came across it by accident. Wish I never watched it.
You better have two airplanes. Yeah. Maybe if the airplane, maybe they can't take off.
She's not flying. She's not flying U.S. Airlines.
I know she's got her own.
She's flying private jet. Right there.
But sometimes maybe the private jet. Maybe there's something.
Kyle just said she'll be there by 6 p.m. at the latest. So no matter what, she is expected to arrive
6 p.m. 20 minutes before kickoff.
Which makes it even more appropriate because then they're going to show her walking into the box. Everybody goes wild. And again, I think San Fran should win.
It's like Monday Night Raw.
For the record, I think San Fran should win, could win. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to get robbed. Kansas City's going to win. Is what it is. 24-21, 27-24, somewhere in that regard. But it's going to come down to a game crazy play. It's going to be a touchdown drive by Mahomes at the end.
Right.
And if Kelsey's the one that catches it, it's definitely rigged, just for the record. But it's going to be 24-20, final drive, Mahomes magic. He's going to come down, make a huge play, some sidearm bullshit. They're going to win the game. And everybody's going to be talking about tomorrow, the next day in the papers, how Mahomes is better than Brady one day. And that's what they're going to be talking about is how
Ray
will he be better.
McLeod with a touchdown. Former Steeler, Ray McLeod, touchdown.
And I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying I love that. I would love nothing more than to see these two teams both to say, you know what, we don't want to play this year and go home. I'd rather see neither team win. No offense, Kyle. But I wouldn't. I don't care about the Super Bowl whatsoever. I would have been more excited by Baltimore, Detroit, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what we have. This is what
Nothing
we have.
excited. I don't get excited. I just only this.
Bubba, you wouldn't be excited to see the Detroit Lions at least have a chance to win a Super Bowl?
No.
For those fans that are just
no. I mean, it's great. It's a good story, but I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh my God.
Kyle says, what if they knock Mahomes out of the game? Blaine Gabbert isn't getting it done. They're going to sell it as a Nick Foles. Watch, we're going to have Nick Foles instead. I still think the whole Nick Foles was out of this world. I couldn't believe that happened.
Detroit, though, Shane. I'd probably take Detroit.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another big thing here too is just so you guys, and I'm not sure if you saw it recently, but two of their best defensive players for Kansas City, we've all agreed that this has been like the best defensive year for Kansas City in a very long time. Two of their top players on defense are both about to be free agents. One of their corners, L'Jarius Sneed, who had that big fumble forced against Flowers, and he knocked the ball at the goal line. And Chris Jones, their leading sack guy the last couple of years. I'm sorry, I was reading the comment. He's also a free agent as well. And then price tags are going to be big for a couple of old men. So that's another thing. This might be one of the last years where Kansas City is as dominant as they have been. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of morale there to make them want to get over the top. So, losing guys never helps you win better. So, well, it depends on who you lose. I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, losing guys like Canada and, stuff like that, maybe you're a little bit better. And we lost Brian Johnson, thank God, to blessing in Philadelphia. Been praying for that for a year. But yeah, and then before we get out of here, obviously, I know we've talked about all kinds of crazy stuff. And Shane, I appreciate your stories. Bubba, I know you have one of the craziest podcast schedules of anybody that I know, so I appreciate you making some time.
Well, thank you.
I've had you guys on a lot longer than you planned, so I appreciate you for sticking around.
Oh, that's okay.
Freight Train, obviously, you the man. Anybody who goes by the nickname Freight Train in public and can actually not be embarrassed by that, I always commend you. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, man. So before we get out of here, we'll start off with you, Shane. I mean, anything going on for you from the podcast? Well, I know you do a college show. I just did a
college show before that, and ticket prices for college championship games aren't quite what the NFL is. But no, we're doing a show called Fan to Fan. It's starting in 2 weeks. We'll be moving off of my other show. We're going to be Joey and I are going to do the Fan to Fan show. It's going to be a little lighter, not so serious, so it'll be a lot of fun. But that's all. And then you can see I do what I can to follow Bubba around like the groundhog has a shadow. So luckily Bubba doesn't sit down a lot. If he'd sit down, he'd sit on me.
Real fast, not to interrupt, but Snapple fact number 1375. There have been 3 Olympic Games held in countries that no longer exist. How's that for an interesting fact? 3 countries that no longer exist. Pretty interesting. Anyway, I love Snapple for the little facts. It gives me something to do throughout my workday. I mean, what's more boring than insurance? Fun facts on Snapple bottles. My life is so much excitement, isn't it? And then Bubba. So what about you, man? I mean, we might be here for a half hour.
Well, I'll try to. Well, I'll try to speed it up. I just had an interview with Dominic D'Angelo. He has right now. He was at the press conference for WWE. He had a nice interview with me. He does he's the host of One of a Kind podcast with RVD. I'm interviewing his brother tomorrow, recorded in the studio. Marcus D'Angelo. He's the host of the Snake Pit with Jake the Snake Roberts. And everybody's podcast with the $1 Million Men, Ted DiBiase. So I'm kind of happy about that. I got a Triple B Experience show tomorrow night when I talk pulp culture and I just talk. And then Tuesday night, myself and Freight Train, it's going to be the mega cast, and Shane's going to be part of that, where two Steeler podcasts combined, like Hogan and Savage, the Mega Powers. And we were going to talk about the 2023 Steelers season, and you never know who's going to pop on. So, yeah, it should be exciting, and hope everybody tunes in. And I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you asking me to jump on. So,
yeah, man. And real fast, it wouldn't be this show without promos. I'm always trying to promote people here. Real quick, guys. Triple B Experience podcast is with Bubba, as you see underneath of his name there. Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk with Larry Striker. He was in the comments earlier. Show's average. We should watch it.
Who's the guy?
Ignore mine. That's actually my little character that my boss made. But ignore that. Not my number anymore. I'm moving to a new office now, so you can scratch that off. But Buckle to Buckle with Kel, who is unfortunately sick. I'm sure some content will be released. He's always doing a really good job. Young kid. Support him big time. It's hard to be a young kid and try to get into this podcast and stuff. It's hard to be taken seriously, to put the time in, plus school. Kid puts his heart and soul into it. So check him out on TikTok as well. Buckle to Buckle with Kel, great show. And then last thing here, I love these guys. And honestly, Bubba, you're a big Pittsburgh fan. This guy sells, the towels or whatever. He sells them for like $6.
Wait. The towels or whatever? The terrible towel?
I hate
He's an Eagles fan, dude. I know. I can't believe I work with him. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what they're called. I refuse to call them that. I think they're just, I don't know. I just don't like it. I think it's a terrible name. I think terrible.
Well, hopefully your Eagles don't wipe their cleats off of it. You'll never win a big game ever again.
But this is my father-in-law's company. He's big on AJB Sports Shop. You will find him on Facebook. You will also find him online. So you go to ajbsportshop.com. Listen, the guy actually has really good pricing. If you ever get bored and you're just looking around looking for some sports memorabilia, I mean, this guy's charging way less than everybody else for jerseys, from your dogs to your kids to cups to mugs to posters, you name it. He actually has an old Ben Roethlisberger like parking sign type thing that he still has in stock. He has all kinds of Steelers stuff. He's up in the Carlisle area, so not near Pittsburgh. However, the further up you get in the PA, the more black and gold it gets. But there's all kinds of stuff, man. He's always opening and ordering stuff as well. So if there's ever something you don't see on there that you would love to see, contact us at NFL Elite Banner, or feel free to even go ahead to the website. There is a way to contact them, and he'll try to help you out. I mean, it's great pricing. You can't beat it. I mean, if you can beat it, I'll literally give you $5. Good luck. His pricing is that good. I think Freight Train compared to Terrible Tale from the online, every website you could find. The cheapest one was like $14, $15. My father-in-law has them for $6.50 to $7 a piece. So he is constantly trying to help you guys out. He doesn't even double his money. He just tries to find a way to make a little bit of profit, but to make it affordable. Check out AJB Sports Shop whenever you get a chance. Great company for a good cause. And then before we get out of here, Freight Train, anything that you wanted to say here before we get out of here this evening?
Nothing. I'm going to expect a good game. For any of you Steelers fans that's listening, I'm getting ready to hop on the Steelers realm as soon as I get off here. So I'll be doing 2 podcasts tonight, back to back.
You're the man.
Yep. That's what us Yinzers do. We're hard work and bring our
lunch. This is the podcast.
So,
isn't that a talk show?
So, not like The View.
Yeah, it depends how you look at it. So, but yeah, congratulations to both teams. May the best team win. And
I hope both.
I'm going to eat way too much.
I hope the field's in bad condition, and unfortunately, nobody can play on it, so the game can't take place. Nah, I'm just kidding. But shout out to you guys.
Tears.
Shout out to you, Bubba. Appreciate you, man. Obviously, you guys have been pushing me forever to do this crap, and it took me forever to finally want to do it. Wasn't that I couldn't. It was more about wanting to. I was finally able to find a day that fit my schedule here. Shane, obviously, appreciate you, man. Obviously, he's constantly keeping an eye out for me. It almost got me put in the one bad spot on a certain podcast I won't mention. However, I've somewhat forgiven you. Playing.
Well, you wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for that bad spot. pushed you.
Oh boy, that was bad. Well, I was going to do both at the same time. Then I realized no way in hell was that worth my time. And then obviously Freight Train, appreciate you, brother. Obviously, coming in before 11 minutes before showtime wouldn't kill me. But however, I mean, if 49 is the best you can do, so be it.
You know what?
I'm
here when
message
the
your
lights
wife on
turn on.
Facebook. I'm going to message your wife on Facebook one day. She'll be like, oh, listen, I offered him to go away, and he refuses to. He does it by choice. And then I'm really going to kick your ass. Wives always snitch you out, man. Like, wait, he told everybody that I made him do it?
Yep.
Oh, I know she does. I believe it. You have 5 kids together. She's been beating you forever, man.
Well, and she's Italian, so she speaks.
Oh, damn, you're really done. Oh, God, Jesus. Oh, you should have led with that. You should have led with that. But now, guys, all jokes aside, I appreciate you guys. Everybody in the comments. Dennis Holmes, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you as well. How you doing, man? But yeah, guys, I mean, it looks like one more game, and then it's all over. Thank God. It almost feels like thank God. I feel like that's how I feel right now. Is I'm just kind of usually I'm like, oh, I don't want it to end, and this year I'm more like, thank God this is over. What a odd roller coaster this season was. But yeah, guys, everybody in the comments, everybody that came on the panel tonight, John Colley here as well. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, we will be back next Thursday. We have a ton of stuff planned for next Thursday as well, actually. Freight Train and I have been planning for a little bit, and